All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me this morning for the workshop on the scientific trading marketing. I'll get into a little bit of detail about what exactly scientific trading marketing really is about, how we're actually running things on the Optimove side, how marketers are starting to change the way that they behave, the way that they market in the trading world, specific brokerages, what they're doing to try to entice people, to engage them, to get people to stay more engaged with the brokerage in order to obviously decrease churn rates, increase lifetime value, and just in general create a better user experience for your customers. So just a few words about me. My name's Howard Bick. I am the Director of New Business and Legal for Optimove. Legal and sales, I'm sure you all know, goes really well hand in hand. Get to close a deal and then negotiate it afterwards. I have a very high success rate of negotiating deals. I don't ever kill them. South African, if you didn't get the accent. I've been in the FX industry for, I'd say on average, probably around 7 or 8 years now. So I've gone from the platform side, brokerage side, to supplier side, operators trying to help our operators from all across the world in increasing the way their marketing guys are running campaigns to increase the way that they are taking in more value from the users. And occasionally you'll find me on a bicycle around Israel, in mountains, in the desert, but that's purely for charity. I'm not fit at all, and I'm in very bad shape. But if you're interested in charities, if your checkbook's out, we can get some cash from you later. Anyway, let's get started. So essentially, what is Optimove? It's a retention automation platform. Meaning, it's powered by predictive microsegmentation technology. Means we're going to personalize every campaign. The whole world of, brokerage would create a campaign. Let's give a 50% match-up fee to any deposit above $500. And we're going to give this as a standard. Everybody who logs on today is getting this particular bonus. It's not relevant as to who they are, how they trade, what they trade on. So what we're trying to teach our brokers is how to understand who your customers are. You can no longer just expect your VIPs to be treated like your entry-level first-time depositors. You need to understand who has high risk of churn. You need to understand who has high potential value. Now, with marketing, we can really influence this. If somebody has a high risk of becoming inactive, then we start to work on that person individually, try to understand what he needs, what's going to get him to make another deposit, to stay engaged with us. Essentially, what we're looking to do is we combine the art of marketing with the science of data. Data is gold. I'm sure everybody has already been involved in big data, data analytics, business intelligence. What does that mean? Why are we doing this? We're doing this because someone's behavior determines how they're going to react. If I'm a trader who opens positions on Eurodollars on Wednesday nights at 10 p.m., send me something that's informative to what I'm going to do on a Wednesday morning, not on Thursday afternoon. My trading is done for the week. That's how I trade. If I trade on a mobile trader, don't even necessarily send me an email. Send me a push notification. Send me an SMS. Understand where I am within your ecosystem so that when I'm trading, when I'm depositing, I feel comfortable to give you my money. I mean, you've got to put yourself in the mind of the trader. He's going online, he's taking out his credit card, and he's depositing $5,000 because he trusts you that when he trades, he has the opportunity to obviously increase his revenue, increase his capital. But if he doesn't trust you, he's going to go to somebody else. Traders are similar to gamblers. They don't stop trading. They just find somebody who they can trust and somebody they feel comfortable with to trade. So someone's getting the money. Now, once you have that person on board, the idea here is to keep them. Now, just a few things about Optimove. We were founded in 2009, around 70 employees worldwide. We've got our head offices in Tel Aviv. We now have an office in New York City and one in London as well. We have around 180 active clients at the moment. On the Forex side, around 70 or 80. We have probably around 10 UK Forex brokers, and the rest are separated across Africa, the US, Canada, Australia, Europe. So we're not really limiting to anybody. Now, what is customer retention? Like I was saying before, equivalent to customer lifetime value maximization. Effective customer retention enables generation of the maximum possible value from each customer. Why invest? What's caused the change? Why not just spend more money on acquisition? I acquire somebody, I have a new trader, this is fantastic. But the cost of acquisition has gone up so dramatically in the last 2-3 years that people can no longer afford to take anybody as a one-time or FTD and then they churn. So what we're trying to look at is to see how much money are we spending on acquisition as opposed to retention. You have the trader. He's there. You have his data. You have his contact details. Now, why spend $1,000 per lead and increase your acquisition when for $2 or $1, you can retain him? You're going to be able to make a lot more money. You have to understand that retaining your users, the value that you can get out of them just because you've paid high amounts for acquisition. Let's look at it like this. You pay $1,000 to acquire a lead. What are the chances he's going to make a deposit of $1,000? And if he does, what's going to happen? What are you going to have to do to get him to make that deposit? Are you going to burn him at $1,200 as a first-time depositor, never deposits again, and he's dead in 2 weeks? So you've made $200. Why not get a first-time deposit of him from $500? Then next month, another $500. And the following month, another $500. Keeping him interested in what you're doing. I'm a euro-dollar trader. Send me information about the euro. When the euro crashed in Greece a couple of weeks ago, our clients jumped. Every single trader who has ever shown any interest in euro, be it on a trading, on informative news that they're sending out, anything of the sort, got bombarded with campaigns on the euro. Everybody thought they knew what was going to happen. Everyone assumed the euro is going to drop. Big problems in Greece, it's going to drop. So people started investing. Nothing ever works the way the trader expects it to in general. So people made money. They kept these guys interested, and they took advantage of what's happening around the world. And it's very easy to do this. Now, a lot of marketers will say to me, well, it's very difficult for me to create a campaign knowing that something's going to happen in 24 hours. So it's true. This is the old way of doing things. We create a campaign. It takes me 3 days to create the campaign. We send it out. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't work. What Optimove is trying to do is provide a system that allows you to create a full campaign targeting someone very specific, in a very specific manner, say SMS or let's say lobby banners on the platform, and be able to do this in a matter of minutes. So within 5 minutes, we can create a full campaign for a targeted group that will execute now or in 24 hours, whenever we want it to execute. So you're not wasting your marketers' time having to stop what they're doing. It takes 2 minutes to create a campaign. So instead of creating one campaign every 3 days, our clients create around 50 campaigns a day. That sounds very broad and very, very difficult and very time-consuming, but eventually when you see what the system actually looks like, you'll understand how it's done. Now, I'm going to stop talking about the system because I'm not here to sell you the system. I'm here to explain to you what smart trading marketing is all about. Like I said, 50% of traders churn within 2 weeks of making their first deposit. We've discussed this already. We've seen how much money we're actually losing by the trader churning within the first 2 weeks. All this really is a lot of low-hanging fruit for your competitors. I deposited with you, I never deposited again, so I went to somebody else. It's great, because it's very easy for someone to take advantage of me if someone's going to offer me a better service. Most traders are active on around 2 to 4 different brokerages during the same time. So like I said again, reiterating, if he's not happy with your service, or she, they're going to go somewhere else. They're going to make a deposit with somebody who they do trust. So we're talking again engagement. Trader retention is the next growth engine for the retail forex and binary options brokerages. Retention marketing is all about changing customer patterns by taking actions that affect them. Again, understanding who they are and taking action on their behavior. This is all about, I think we all learned this from the US, spying on everybody, understanding what they do, listening to phone calls. We obviously do it on a much lesser level, but still the principle is there. If you understand who somebody is, you can take advantage of that understanding and turn it into your benefit. This is just a small graph showing you what the actual statistics look like. You've got your conversion, which is obviously very important. You want to keep that conversion as high as possible. And again, remember, if you have data on your user before they even convert, somebody registers and they never made a deposit. If you're tracking what they're doing on the site, if you know they're looking at, let's see, the academy, how to trade. Okay, so we've got a novice. We know immediately what this person's looking for. If you look at somebody who's gone straight to trading on Microsoft and Apple, chances are they're pretty global. They don't really know the markets. They're going for the big guys who they assume will inevitably increase. The next step, how do you increase their spend? Within this first section here, we know what they're going to do, we know what they're interested in, and now we need to target them and send them an action that increases their amount of money that they're depositing. Prolonging engagement. Engagement doesn't necessarily mean that they are trading with you 3 times a week as opposed to twice a week. It means that they have not churned. It means that they are staying connected. When you send them emails, they're reading them. They may not be trading today or next week or in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but if they're not unsubscribing from your emails, this is fantastic because we all know how heavily people unsubscribe as soon as they receive an email. Send somebody 5 emails, none of them were interesting, everybody's going to hit unsubscribe. Now the actual curve hits the decline. Obviously, the desired curve is a permanent increase. Preventing churn. How do we know when someone's going to churn? What do we do when they're going to churn? Do we ignore them and focus on our new traders? No, absolutely not. We're going to be able to understand that this section of customers, traders are about to become inactive. And how do we do this? By understanding how their behavior has changed on a day-to-day basis. If I was trading every Thursday, and then for the last 3 weeks or so, I haven't traded. This is an indication that something has gone wrong. Why have I not traded? So we're going to offer you something that's going to entice you again to pick it up again, preventing churn. And if they've already churned, we're not going to ignore them either. We're going to offer them whatever we need to get them to come back. Like I said, as long as you have their data, email addresses, phone numbers, Facebook, whatever it is that you can contact them by, however it is, if it's a personal phone call, as long as you have this, you can bring someone back. And when you start looking at the revenue changes of returning your inactive customers into activity and decreasing their churn rates, across the board, the numbers are very big. Use personalization to improve retention. Okay. I'm going to give you a very cheesy example of what this means. So everyone's smart enough to get the idea that personalization works. I was in the US a month ago for another summit, and I ended up at Brooks Brothers. Just randomly went in. Apparently they got nice shirts. I went in to see what they got. They don't have my size, nothing. The guy was so nice to me that he contacted Brooks Brothers in London because he knew that I was coming here this month. They got in touch with me. They ordered the things that I was looking for. It's been sitting in the store for 3 weeks. They sent me an email yesterday confirming that it's all sitting there. I don't have to buy it. I must come in, try it out. They're going to have a tailor on hand because they know that I'm leaving tomorrow in order to shorten the sleeves, do whatever alterations are done, and it's going to be... so. Even if I have no intention of buying anything this month, I'm going to go there tomorrow, and there's a 99% chance whether this thing fits me or not, I'm going to buy it. And if it fits me and it's nice, I'm going to stick to them for the next however long it takes until I meet somebody who's nicer, somebody who offered me a better service. It's basic personalization. Make somebody feel like they're important, not, oh, you're a trader, you deposited, you lost your money, thank you very much, or you won your money, congratulations, bye-bye. People want to feel comfortable when they're taking out their credit card, making a deposit, when they're giving you their money. They want to trust that you're not going to take their money and disappear with it, that you're there to assist them. Now, whether or not that's the truth or not is irrelevant to what we're trying to do. It's the perception of a close engagement. Different kinds of people. I think that's simple enough. Now, the process of scientific personalization. Step number 1, segment. Let's identify who our customers are. How are we going to do this? We're going to start with a single customer view. Essentially, what you're seeing on your screen right now is a table that shows the ID numbers of your users and attributes. Now, all of these attributes are the different behavioral patterns of the individual user. You've got number of invoices they received in the last 12 months, the value segment, the micro segment they're sitting in, their future value, number of positions opened in the last 2 months. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to do this extraction and recalculation every day. So every day we're going into the database and we're looking to see what's changed. Have you deposited today? Have you opened a position? Have you logged in? When did you log out? How long were you on the platform for? What were you looking at? Everything is important. Now, we have clients who have 20 pieces of information per user. We have clients who have 400 or 500 pieces of information. Data is gold. The more data you can store, the more segmented you can get, the better understanding you get of the particular user. Keep pushing the wrong button. Step number 2, we're going to discover customer personas. Now, what does that mean? We're going to identify the different kind of customers that we have. Level 1, we're going to break them down into life cycle stages. Level 2, we're going to create segmentation layers. And final level is we're going to put everybody into micro segments. And I'll explain what those are in a second. Segment by life cycle stages. Simplest thing, most brokers do this already. You've got your new users, your active, your inactive, your churned. The more life cycles, the more segments that you're going to have. Step number 2, we're going to create layers of segmentation. Now, this is important. Active users. Most people assume that if you're active, you're active. You went onto the platform, you're opening positions, you're closing positions, you're doing something. But that doesn't identify who you are. I mean, if you look around the room, there's a number of different people in the room. We all may be active, but let's say, for example, you do a minimum deposit of $500. We've got $2,000 minimum deposits here. You withdraw every 3 weeks. UK, the US, you trade on currencies, you trade on commodities. We're all active, but we're not the same person. We need to identify what kind of people you could possibly be. For example, we're looking at you by way of, what is your trading platform? Your trading preference, your trading activity, your trading experience, deposits versus withdrawals. And then we're breaking it down as to what the possible personas you could possibly have. Now, in order to do this, we use cluster analysis. It's a mathematical algorithm that lets the data define how these groups are created. Why? Because creating rules is great for identifying what country you're in. Okay, you're from the US, there's no real other group you can fit into. But what if you're a VIP? We've decided today that VIPs are anybody whose average deposit is above $5,000 and trades 20 times a month. Okay, what happens if nobody does that this month? We have no VIPs. What happens if 50% of our database trades like that this month? Then everybody's VIP. Cluster analysis essentially will allow the system to calculate every day to ensure that you are falling within the required or the applicable persona that you're falling in. Maybe you trade on mobile, MT4, web, and trading desk. But how often are you trading on these? Maybe 50% of the time I'm on mobile, 10% web, 10% MT4. So essentially I'm going to fall into the mobile app because percentage-wise, this is what I have an affinity for. And every day we check this out. Maybe next week you've decided that, oh, you just got fired. Okay, whatever, you're trading on MT4 at home now. You've got your own desktop, so you don't have to worry about the office. So you're sitting at home and you're trading, and you've moved from mobile to MT4. Now, this movement is important because it shows that there's been a behavioral change. Now, essentially, every single customer trader is going to fall within one of these layers of segmentation to one of the personas. So let's say we've got a client who's a big depositor with few withdrawals. He's trading MT4. He's trading on currencies. He's a high roller. And right now, sitting in the winner's circle, his P&L has gone up pretty high. What I've done is I've assigned him with behavioral DNA. Now, the behavioral DNA is essentially who he is today. This defines what kind of person he is, and then we're going to check again, like I said, every day to see how his personas change. Now, within those clusters, like I said before, high rollers, mid-tier, risk of churn. Risk of churn in active. Nobody pays attention to this. He's active. But if you look at the numbers in this example, it's 1/3 of my active users have a high risk of becoming inactive. It shows what their activities have been, days since last activity, number of trade days in the last 2 months, total investment in the last 2 months. Now, all of these points together will define whether or not he's a high roller or mid-tier risk of churn. Why risk of churn? Because when we grab risk of churn, I'm not going to send somebody who has a high risk of churn a bonus that if he deposits $2,000, I'm giving him a matchup. He's a risk of churn. He's about to become inactive. I'm going to be offering him the most attractive promotion possible, and it's going to go in a personal manner. I'm not going to send him an email. I'm going to get my sales department to give him a call, understand what's happening with him, and then offer him something fantastic to get him to make one more deposit, get him to open more positions. But I'm not going to send the same thing to all my active because my high rollers are having a fantastic time, and calling them to ask them what's wrong, is everything okay, is going to show them that I have absolutely no idea who they are. Same goes with if we're looking at what they're trading on, currencies, commodities, stocks. These are the number of users we have across active that are trading on those particular instruments. Then you've got the percentage of time. Currency is 91% on currencies, 5% on commodities, 4% on stocks. So they all fall within currencies. Now, like I said, this is your persona. This is who our first client is. But then we've got all the different personas that you could possibly have. What we're going to do next, if the button works, there we go, is we're going to take everybody with identical behavioral personas and we're going to group them together. And that's what we call the micro segment. So very essentially, the micro segment is your smallest group of traders who all today have identical behavioral patterns. Now, why is this important? What are we going to do with these micro segments? We're going to monitor people's changes. Today you're in micro segment 1. Tomorrow you moved because you changed from currencies to commodities. Now you're in micro segment 2. And we're going to map out every single change every single day in order to identify where the value is coming in, to predict what the future value is going to be from our users. So, like I said, you're in micro segment 1 today. Now, we know statistically that there's a 40% chance you're going to move to micro segment 2. If you make this movement, we expect $3,200 from you. We know there's a 50% chance you're going to micro segment 6, in which case we're getting $800, and a 10% chance you're going to micro segment 3, bringing in $0. So there's a 10% chance you're going to churn. Now, when we extrapolate this across all the movements over the next 6 months, our future value of our trader today is $2,210. Why is this important? Because we can predict what the future is, how much money we're going to get from this guy. But also, we can adjust this. We said that if he moves to micro segment 2, it means he's gone from trading currencies to commodities. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to influence him to start trading commodities. Because this has shown us historically that if he does this, this is the highest value we're going to get. Now, we don't have to worry about him churning. He's only got a 10% chance of becoming inactive. So he's not a high risk, but we are going to focus on trying to push him to micro segment 2. How? Action. We're going to do something. We're going to create customized retention campaigns for each persona. Meaning, we're going to look at all the different personas that there are, and we're going to try to push them to the highest value that they could go based on their behavior historically and what we believe that they're going to do in the future. How are we going to do this? We're going to match up our micro segments, as an example, to the offerings that we have. We're going to make sure that the right match goes to the right person so that we're not sending the wrong campaign to the wrong person, in which case it may not work. Every campaign needs an action. We're not going to sit there and create, what's the point of having a marketing department? Congratulations. You all built beautiful templates. The emails look fantastic, and no one's done anything. This is not a respectable marketing department. This is not acceptable anymore. We're paying you a lot of money to do something. Your job has a responsibility, just like sales. Sales are meant to sell. We need to adjust and understand whether or not they're working. If they're marketing and the marketing is not making a difference, then the marketing is wrong. The goal, trader lifetime value maximization. Let's make more money. Treat every campaign as a marketing experiment. This is how we're going to start changing the way the marketers work. We've got a group of people here, everyone's getting a campaign, but not everyone's getting a campaign. We're all active, we all fall in the same micro segment. But how do I know that this actual campaign is going to work? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide you up. 80% of my group are going to receive a campaign and 20% are not going to receive nothing. You're all falling into my control group. And let's see over the life of this campaign whether or not my control group made a deposit, open positions, or whether it was only the group that received the actual marketing campaign. Test group, control group. Essentially optimizing your campaigns for every persona. You're going to be able to see exactly what your KPIs are. Sorry, this is not very clear at this point, but it says total profit. It says $8,500. You can see invoices, orders, positions. You can measure your KPIs on any campaign however you want. You can see the group sizes. Sorry, there's actually a better picture coming up here. We can see how many of our traders received this campaign. 1,000 were in the test group and 120 in the control group. Out of the test group, 34 open positions. Out of the control group, 1 open positions or made a deposit. What that percentage is, and how much the average profit or deposit was for. So the campaign's purpose was to increase the amount of money people were depositing or the number of positions they were opening against the control group. You want to make more money and you want to make more positions. This is how you maximize your customer value. This is a marketing, basically it's a calendar. You've got your target groups on your left-hand side and you've got the days of the week. These are all the campaigns that we're running, this campaign for this group on this day. So we're going to be able to very easily see what has happened in the last week, the last month. For the CEO always loves this. Why? Because he doesn't want to get that involved every day with marketing and have to get a report from them. Signs up, looks at the system, sees how many campaigns they created last week, and sees how many of them were actually profitable. if they weren't profitable. What have we done to make it better? We didn't accept they wasn't profitable. We have to have an action follow-up. Apply science to your customer marketing. Become a retention hero. We're at booth 89. If anybody would like to come past and actually see what the system looks like. But essentially, what I was trying to just get across to you guys was that the way we're going to start marketing to our traders has to change. We have to start taking advantage of the users that we have so that we can cut our acquisition costs. We need to cut the usage of time of people, the money that they're spending in order to ensure that we're actually profitable. I mean, I'm coming out of Tel Aviv, so I can tell you that on average, probably 30 or 40 new FX brokerages open every 6 months. On binary options, I'm not even going to discuss that because that's 30 or 40 every 3 weeks. These guys are ridiculous. But every time somebody opens, the cost of acquisition gets higher. These affiliates that we all have are all doing wonderful jobs, but they're all going to the highest bidder now. You can no longer bid $100 for a good client. You need to go $1,000, $2,000. I mean, what are you going to? What's the risk of not getting that money back? That's why people are burning them. They're like, oh, I spent $2,000. I got $2,100 out of him. Fantastic. No, it's not fantastic. You made $100. You put in all this work to make $100. It's not good enough. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I hope it added some light into what Optimove is doing and how we believe that the marketing is working and moving towards retention. And if anybody's got any questions, now's the time. Anything? Somebody must have a question.
A mic here. We have a mic here.
I'm kind of hoping that you've got a question at least.
Anyone?
Nice. My lovely assistant. That's it. Okay. So like I said, guys, we're at booth 89. If you want to see what the system looks like, come have a chat with us. We're there all day. Thank you.